What is going on? How y'all doing, beautiful people? Good evening and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Coach La right here on Urban Heat 98.1 FM. We are radio with a purpose. And I am super excited. Y'all know that. Y'all probably like, Coach La is always super excited every single week. Say something we don't know, Coach. Say something. But I'm super excited about being here tonight to have a conversation with an awesome woman that I have come to meet through social media. I know some people like to talk about social media and say all of the things that don't come very good out of it, negativity, people griping about all their problems. But social media is a great tool. I have met some of the most amazing individuals through their stories, people reposting their stories, and me being brave enough to say, hey, I'm interested in learning more about you. And what would it be like if we were to have a conversation where other people could get to know you too? We assume that everybody is seeing our stories and everybody is aware of who we are, but we are never ever fully known by everybody. And I know we like to say that in Boston, that Boston is a really, really small place. So I'm hoping that I am introducing all you Bostonians to people that you've never met before to talk about their amazing stories and their amazing lives. I think what I love about this next guest is her we have similar slogans. So she's a nurse by day and a film producer by night. And I say I'm your favorite around the way therapist. I'm a therapist by day and I'm a radio personality by night. So I thought that was pretty cool that we shared that in common. She has a lot of alphabet soup behind her name, just like me. I had to go look it up in Google to figure out what these acronyms meant because I wasn't familiar. So you can do the same, but all you need to know is she know her stuff. She's an expert in her line, in her field. And she is multifaceted. Another thing we share in common is we don't believe we have to be in any one box. We do what we feel. We follow our purpose. We follow our gifts. We follow our dreams. She's beautiful. She's a sister. I always like bringing us Black women on here to talk about our lives and what we're doing. And so I don't want to spoil everything. So I want to welcome to the show Miss Robin Roots. Hey, Robin.
Hey, how are you?
Uh-oh, I can't hear you.
You can't hear
Oh,
me?
no. Oh, no, that's not happening. Not tonight.
Can you hear?
I can't hear a thing. Uh-oh,
It's
you're on
off.
mute.
It's
I can't hear not a thing. This is not
oh,
good.
okay.
If you're listening through Facebook or otherwise, YouTube, Instagram, if you can hear Robin, just throw it in the chat if you can hear her, because I cannot. I cannot hear her at all.
Testing. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Something is definitely wrong, and this is not good. Well, hello everyone. I know I can. Yes, we can. I can. We
Can
can
y'all hear
hear
me?
her. Okay. So everybody can hear you but me. Oh, that is so awful.
Where the computer people
I
at?
don't
Put
know
something in
why
the
I can't
chat.
hear you. That makes me very sad. Yeah, I can't hear you. I'm the only one that can't hear you.
That's
She's
not
loud and clear.
good.
So the problem is definitely on my side. And I don't know why I can't hear you.
Hmm.
Well, guys, I am totally uncertain on why I can't hear her. It looks like I'm having some kind of technical difficulties on my side. That's not a good thing. Uh,
She might have to go out and come back in.
yeah. I can't figure this out, my lovely people. I have no idea why I can't hear her.
You want to sign out and come back
Huh.
in?
All right. Let's try this. You gonna have to, I'm gonna have to try to have you call me. Let's see if let's
No.
no, I know. And we got all these listeners and people are just on here too. I cannot hear a thing. I cannot hear. I see your lips
Hmm.
moving, but I have no sound. It's a technical problem. It
Read the
must be
chat.
StreamYard. It's probably a StreamYard issue on my end. You guys can hear me, right? Everybody can hear me? Everybody can hear me? Robin, you can hear me? You can hear me. I can't hear her. Okay. I don't know. Um, that's so weird. Oh no. Yeah, I'm not sure. What in the world? What in the world? What in the world? Yes. So we're gonna try this. Call me at the studio. 617 238 7111. We're gonna have to pivot. Y'all get a chance to see us pivot live in action. We're gonna try to see if we can do it through the phone lines instead. See if we can do it through the phone lines and see if that works. So something is going on, but we ain't gonna be able to troubleshoot it tonight. So we gonna try that instead. All right. So the phone, you there, Robin?
Yeah, can you hear me?
All right. All right. So I'm gonna try you from the phone, but I'm gonna take you off speaker. Hold on. Did I hang
You
up on
hung
you?
up.
Call back. Sorry, girl. Don't y'all
Can you hear
love
me?
it? Live radio. You got call back again. It's all good. Listen, we gonna get it together. We gonna get it together. We gonna get it together. Everybody that's leaving, just call on back. We'll figure it on out. All right.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yep. You do the phone.
Can they hear me
Can
on
they
that
hear me
end?
on that end?
They'll be able to hear you through the computer. But I'm gonna keep the video up. So put your
Okay.
put your screen on mute so there's no echo
Okay, hold on.
Okay, hold
because
on.
you're on the
Thank you.
phone, so they won't hear the echo. All right, y'all, we gonna still keep this thing going. We gonna get it going. So y'all get a visual and you get an audio.
Can y'all hear me good?
All right, I can hear you fine. All right, y'all can hear her. If you can hear, just put in the chat that you can hear her on because I have her calling through the phone. And hopefully you guys can hear her, but you'll be able to still see her for everybody who needs to see her beautiful face. Listen, I have to learn all this stuff. At
You
10 o'clock.
got it.
Listen, at 10 o'clock at night, I troubleshoot all my own stuff. So here we go. Robin, thank you, girl, for coming on the conversations with Coach Law so we can talk about all the things that you've been up to. Right, you are up to a lot. So we got you're a movie producer, music producer, a kidney coach, a renal specialist, strategist, excuse me, a menopause expert. I need that. I need that help right now. I'm gonna tell y'all in a minute why. You're a consultant, you're an author, you're a public speaker, and an influencer. You are just doing it all.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
You just doing it all. And you're also retired.
Yeah,
Technically,
from the corporate world.
world. So
Yeah.
one of the things we had talked about when me and you were sitting and talking was that transition and the misconception around retirement. And then we did a lot of talk around therapy because I'm a psychotherapist by day. And then I do my radio and my podcast. I do all of these things at night on the weekend. So one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is what did therapy mean to you and how has it played a role in your life, if at all, as you made these different transitions?
I think it was so necessary because I think about, working in nursing for 33 years and then, doing film and then retiring, plus getting married in my 50s and leaving like my core people. Because I'm home most of the time by myself or with my husband. And I found that kind of challenging because I'm like, I just transitioned to everything. And now I don't have like that, just a group of people. I got my girls, but I need somebody that understands how scary it can feel sometimes to make that kind of shift. It's a leap, a jump.
Mm.
But I'm good, but just jumping is the key. You stand there on the side and you get ready. Can I do this? Can I do this? And I did it. It'll be a year in July that I retired, and it'll be 2 years. It was 2 years in June that I got married. So it's like a whole new season for me.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah. Wow. So transition. So you actually, this is your first, second marriage?
Yeah.
Second marriage. Then you retired and you relocated.
But no, I'm still here in Richmond, but it's
Mhm.
just I'm working. I'm in the office by myself all the time, whereas I've been around patients over 35 years. So
Mhm.
I've always been around a lot of people.
Mhm.
So it's been different. And then when I call my friends, they're working, of course. So it's like when I want to hang out, they're like, I'm working. I don't get out till 6:30. Then I got this to do and that to do, and I'm like, okay. So it's different because that's one thing I don't think I was prepared for, that we all retire together. That's some people do, some people don't. That's one stage of life where it's not like a group activity. Sometimes you're having kids together, you're getting married together, and all of those, stages of life. So it's different with retirement.
Because you're young to be retired, but what I found, and we'll try to talk about that more, is that during COVID, a lot of people chose to retire. So
Yeah.
was that also your case too? Is that COVID sort of pushed that envelope a little bit more for you to retire sooner than later?
Not really. I had some changes in leadership that happened right before COVID. And my film project, 2020 Years a Nurse, it really focuses on discrimination in the healthcare field. So, being in healthcare as long as I have, I've seen it all. But that really, challenged me to say, you know what, I don't have to deal with certain things. And I really had everything in order to retire. But, it was just a matter of staying until I was 62. That was my ultimate goal. And then it was like, no, we're out of here, because once I started playing with the numbers, I'm like, I'm out of here because I can't. And I think when you can retire early, you have an opportunity. We start doing what we have to do. But if you retire good, you can start to do what you really want to do.
All right now.
So that's what, yeah.
So that was one of the things when you said therapy is essential. So has therapy helped you make these decisions? When did you find therapy to be most useful, and what does it mean to you?
I think when COVID hit and a lot of people passed away, it was something in nursing that was hard for me because we could not contain what was happening. So that took a hit on me. Just, we take an oath to do no harm, but we go in and do the best we can. And people come in with heart attacks and strokes. We have a plan of care to get them up and running and back out into society. But it was different with COVID. So I found myself really like not able to deal with those, with the scatter of everything that had happened. So I was like, I can't really talk to the other nurses because they came to me. So I
Mhm.
was absorbing what they were going through, and I didn't have an outlet to get rid of it. So I started, seeking therapy so that I could dump some of it out of me so I could fill my cup up. It was hard to fill my cup up when it was so much sorrow on the inside. And so then all the other shifts in my life, my career and everything, I found out that it was just piling up. So I had to really like take inventory. Why do I feel the way I feel? And then I
Mm.
was able to identify it and then make those changes. And I'm still in transition right now, which is great for me because I'm able to share my story with people that are still struggling with the death, the loss of job, loss of assets, loss of relationships. Because COVID did a lot of shifting.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I was watching clips of your documentary and just remembering being at home and just, disconnected, but getting most of it from the news and whoever might have had a loved one. But it was a really difficult time navigating that space. I don't think in my lifetime I had ever experienced anything like COVID. Um, it was unprecedented, I would say.
Yeah, I think probably the time I could possibly compare it to is when HIV AIDS came on the scene when I first got into dialysis in the 90s, and just you know not knowing how to protect ourselves because when it first was diagnosed, we didn't know how to protect ourselves. It took time for them to figure out about the gloves and different things we needed to do as society to protect ourselves. And now, it's still occurring, but we've got somewhat control over the numbers, education, and just how to contain everything. So I think with COVID, it was moving faster than HIV was.
Mm.
So for me, it was kind of like like that doom and gloom that we hate to feel as healthcare providers. We hate that feeling because death is in the room.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of my providers have retired since COVID, like right after a lot of people were announcing as things were starting to improve and we were doing a lot of virtual or telehealth, you saw a lot of announcements that people were going to make that transition and retire. So, in terms of your retirement though, you're retired to a certain extent from from doing lots of corporate things, but now you're just on the other side as far as how you're interacting, but you're still very much in your field, doing the work, but just more as a
I
consultant
am,
now and a mentor.
but I think retirement to me is more freedom.
Hmm.
So there are days, where I don't want to do anything or not, I just need a me day. I can do that without putting in a request and I can
Talk about
do
that
what I
part.
want to. See, that control is gone. I'm in control of what I'm doing with my time. And then if I want to work 3 hours or 14 hours in a day and take 3 off, I can do that. And I think retirement for me is moving into that next phase of my life.
Hmm.
And I'm excited because it's so different. What I hadn't shared with you is that I just recently passed my insurance test, so I'm able to sell, life insurance, annuities, and it's, health insurance is so important to me because being in the healthcare field, we experienced that too, and I didn't realize how that had impacted me until, Facebook people pass away, and we do a lot of GoFundMe's, and it's just important that we, do health literacy to understand that we need living benefits as well as death benefits. And so, being a nurse, when people pass away, it's a very sad time. But we respond to that very differently in society. Sometimes we're trying to see what assets people have, and then how we're going to pay for the funeral, and that tears families apart. And I have not met many people in this life that can tell me when grandmama died or my mama died, it went smooth. What happens is the one that they deem to be the rich one in the family is supposed to bury the family member. And if not, we all need to put in $300 or $600 to get that person buried.
Hmm.
And it caused a lot of strife in families.
Right.
And so being able to now transition into that with my nursing experience, because I've seen it, but you can't fix that. A lot of people don't even get to mourn the death of their loved one because they're trying to find financial means to, have the burial and honor them. And I
Right.
think, we got insurance on everything, the phone, just everything,
That's so true. We
but we
got
don't
car insurance, home
everything.
insurance, cell
Yeah,
phone. That is true. We got insurance on everything, but what about on yourself? Because that is
yeah,
something that people sort of will allow to go. Is
yeah.
their life insurance? I
And
too.
there's insurance for kids. So when they get a certain age, they can use that money to pivot into the real world.
Hmm.
So, it's different, vehicles out here that we can use. And I think we just need to be educated on it. And that's something that I'm passionate about at this point because I've seen both sides of the coin.
Right. We actually share something. So I was in reverse, meaning I was doing insurance, financial services, all of that was before I became a psychotherapist. So
Okay.
yes, that was, but I agree. I think what I learned as a very young financial rep, because I was in my 20s when I started it, was just precisely what you said. They always encouraged us, get it now while you're young, right? When you don't start off with $20, start off whatever amount, it accumulates. And I would say
That's
that
right.
now a lot of young people think you're not worried about death. They're not worried about life insurance because they don't have families or they don't have any assets. But if I could give any level of advice, get your life insurance policy now. You can get $1 million policy on yourself now before you have a family for really cheap when you are in good health. So do it
Exactly.
early. Do it early. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think what people forget is that they're on a job. When they leave that job, either due to being fired or get retired, you don't take them benefits with you. They belong to the company. So
Mm-hmm.
if you got life insurance, you got insurance, but then when you leave, when you exit the building, you leave some things behind. It's only a few jobs that you can take it with you. And so it's important to start thinking about that and just really, that's why I'm able to retire, because I didn't know everything when I was young, but I was listening and watching what people were doing. And so now some of those policies, I'm able to live off of that money because they do have living benefits. And I tell people all the time is, we're living longer. So keep on living. You're going to have some illnesses that you might need some extra money for. And the disability, I was sharing with a lady the other day, I had disability when I got my first home. And then I end up, being out from like, what was it, August until November when I had my son. I couldn't work because, I went into premature labor. But it was like that insurance paid the mortgage while I was laid up. And, you buy stuff. You don't know if you're going to ever need it.
Right.
But it's great to have. And so that's when I was young. And so that's been my motto. The properties that I own, I have insurance on them because at the end of the day, it'll take care of your bills,
Very good advice. So it takes us to your bet on self moment. You kind of gave us some little nuggets of your bet on self moment, but for those that are new to Conversations with Coach La, bet on self is that time in your life where you take the horns, right? You take control, take the reins, you jump in the driver's seat. You say, if not me, then who? If not now, then when? You no longer blame anyone for your particular situation, and you understand your current situation isn't your final destination. So that's really what bet on self is about. It's a mantra, it's an affirmation, it's a lifestyle, and it's a mindset, right? So tell us about yours. I mean, you have so many, but anything in particular that's shining bright in your mind that you want to tell the listeners about when you feel like, you know what, you say, you know what, Robin, we're going to bet on ourselves. We got this.
Yeah, I think for me, it's great to have interviews because that gives me an opportunity to reassess everything that I've accomplished. It really makes me sit down and go backwards. And then I'm, deconstruct what I've done. And then I'm like, you know what? I've always been a producer in everything that I've done. And so now to be able to jump in, producing film, producing my other companies, producing insurance, and bet on me because I've met so many wonderful people in this life. People mean well, but a lot of people don't follow through.
So that follow through is important.
Yes. I've had enough letdowns to know that bet on you because I'm very consistent. That's what my husband tells me all the time. I've never met anybody that go in the office like they got a supervisor and work them hours. And I'm like, I come in, I write down everything that I do each day. And I know I may have done 20 things that day. I'm moving. Consistency is the key because I feel if you take steps every day, you're going to get to the destination. Now, when, I don't know. But if you get off your path, you delay getting there. And that's important to me because I've helped so many people along the way, which I love helping people. But sometimes you get in their lane and forget about your lane. So you have to really be intentional about what you're going to accomplish, And right now, I get calls from people to work on projects, and I'll, tell them we're talking January 2024 because I got these last 6 months belong to me, and I got, some things I got to push across the finish line, and I know I can do it if I'm consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the key. A lot of people, they quit too soon, and they're right there, right there. So you got to just keep going. You got to push. You got to pray. You got to be persistent. You got to follow through, and just believe. You know, I always say, bet on me. I'm a bet on me. So if it doesn't work out, I can't blame you or nobody else. It's like if I had followed up on that one call, but you know, sometimes you get tired. But as long as you hold yourself accountable, I don't need a supervisor over me because I know what God already told me is going to happen.
Mm.
You know, I already know.
I have to really agree. I think when we were going through the pandemic, I was working for an organization and I was still working my private practice part time. But I remember waking up every day, getting dressed, putting on my makeup, and sitting behind the Zoom like I was still going in the office. And I remember people saying, you doing all of that? Like everybody has started to get sort of like, I don't even need to get dressed. I ain't putting on no pants.
Right.
They were doing a lot. And I was like, well, I don't plan on this being forever. So I want to keep my mindset as if I'm still going to work, because you get in that kind of a slump. I just felt that would be a tougher place to pull yourself out of, because you've gotten so comfortable with it. And that was true. A lot of people have had a really tough time transitioning from being at home back into the office because of all of that. Like, I don't want to get dressed. Some people got anxiety, depression, all kinds of stuff because they kind of just got into a slump. So consistency, I think, is important. One of the other things you said, you still are working as if there's somebody over you, because those are good transition, as we call transitional skills, transferable skills. So you're still very much managing yourself.
Yeah, I feel God has really gifted me with so many gifts, and I owe it back to the community. And when I have talks with different groups, I always talk about gifting to society, because we all have a gift that God gave us to give to the world. And a lot of times, if we don't have anybody over us, we kind of get lazy. So, I have a routine. I get up, I write in my grateful journal, and then I spend time with God, meditate, and I take off for my day. And that's important to me, that He leads me on what I need to do, because if not, you get all twisted up in that other stuff, and you're doing stuff that has no value to your purpose. And so, I have a day where I do billing for our businesses, and a day where I kind of, follow up with people that need my help. But most of the time, I'm pouring into my businesses, because at the end of the day, there's nobody else coming to do my business but me. I have an assistant, but I'm still leading. The ideas are coming from me. So therefore, sometime by the time you explain all that stuff to people, you could have done cranked it out yourself. So,
oh my God, that is so true. I often say, employees are great, but it's still guidance and leadership, and you also need to manage them and check their work, at least in the beginning, until you get to know them. But then every now and again, you got to come every maybe month or 3 months to double check, because people will get lax. I won't even say lazy. They just, sort of need that push and that coach to sort of remind them, okay, we got these goals that we need to set, which is why I still finally gonna jump. So you said something on your page. I actually ended up naming the show that. You said, I jumped and my gifts, what you say? I wrote it down. I jumped and the universe made room for me. Or how did you say it?
I jumped and my gift made room for me. And what I meant by that is that I retired a year ago in July, and my calendar stayed full. And I think when people heard that I had retired, that intrigued them. And also just watching, I don't really think I'm doing a lot on social media, but people say, oh my God, I saw you do this, I saw you do that. So I think when you really make that decision that I'm going to trust you, God, whatever you say, do, I'm going to do, because He put the gift in you. So you got to trust Him. And if you show Him that you can manage a little, He'll give you much. And so I feel like there are things popping off, that I never would have imagined. You know, I've been asked to be a judge for a comedy show and just different things that don't even fit my profile, but it does. And so it's so important to be available, try new things. If people say, hey, you would be great on this, try it. You know, because they can see what you would bring to that environment. So things just keep coming and coming and coming. And I'm like, okay, I'll be there. I'll speak. I'll do this. I'll do that. Because I know it's in me. I don't have to write notes. You know, I just have to be myself. And I think that's key. If you're your authentic self, it's easy. But if you start, you know, pretending you know something or you this way, it's work. So I don't know if it took me to get almost 60 to say, hey, this is who I am and take it or leave it. And that's when people ask me to do stuff that I feel is kind of odd. You know, I always say, why me? You know, what is it about me? Why do you want me on your show? And they laugh. They're like, I just want to. I said, no. Why? Because I want to be intentional about my time and where I show up at. Because when I show up on something, I'm endorsing what I'm doing. Like your show, when me and you talked, I went back and listened to so much of your stuff. I was like, wow, she's fire, you know. And I'm like, I need some of these nuggets to live a better life. So I appreciate you.
Yeah. We had a wonderful powwow. It was supposed to be 15 minutes. I know we did, it was way longer, 30 minutes, might have been an hour. We sat and we talked. And one of the reasons why I created this show was to debunk the myths about what it's like to talk to a therapist. I also came into this field from a background in financial services and coaching, and my bosses would tease, well, I don't know if you want to use the word tease, but make commentary that they didn't pay me to be a social worker. Like they didn't pay me to be a therapist. The goal was to go in and be very intentional, goal-oriented, open accounts, sell investments. Yes, you want to, you know, get to know their story, but you know, you're not a therapist. So I would talk to people forever. And they're like, you take way too long to sell a product, right? Like you need to get faster. So I think, you know, when I look back at the trajectory of me getting here, I've always been a talker, a connector. Who knew? I definitely didn't. That really what I should have been doing was being a therapist. Like I have time constraints, but not really. So if I really needed to, I could build an insurance company for more time if people are in crisis. So the long-windedness and being able to sit and listen and spend more time with people, it works over here in what I'm doing now. So
yeah. And that's blessed because you said a mouthful, because I just spoke to a group of people last week and we talked about, you know, some people think they're doing too much because, you know, your friends will say, oh, you're doing too much. I thought you was doing this. All of it connects together. If you really sit back and look at your own life and say, okay, I started here, I started there, all of it goes together because where you're at now, if people got financial issues, it affects all that other stuff.
it does.
So you're able to identify that. And that's how I feel about health and wealth. Some people got high blood pressure and diabetes and other illnesses because they're financially strained. They got a lot going on that causes their blood pressure to be high, kidneys to fail, all of those things. So I've always talked health and wealth, but now I've added that official wealth piece, and it goes together. Because you can have all the money in the world, but if you toe up, you're not going to enjoy it.
Right.
And then you can be, it's just looking at that balance and knowing that, you know what, I'm in great shape, but I got to get my money right now. And
Right.
really being real with yourself.
So true. And having a lot of money, we think about how many people we know or hear about stories of people having lots of wealth, but they're sad, they're upset, they're depressed, suicidal, right? And I think a lot of that, you know, is something that we don't think. Money is a tool, it's a resource.
Yeah.
Right. What it does is it allows you to acquire things that you need quicker or solve problems quicker. But it doesn't mean that you're going to be happy. It's a temporary happiness because you have money. So you have to work on health, your mindset, and all of that in conjunction to acquiring money, because money won't solve it all. It can make life easier in some cases, or it can make it more challenging as well. People don't know that part. Like we need accountants and we got taxes, and we got a lot of other things that go along with having a lot of money that people don't
Yeah.
talk about enough.
And it's so important, you hear that term like your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why? And I've heard so many examples of this and that, but most people are going to say their why is because they want to take care of their family, or they want a bigger house, they want this, they want that. But that's just the result of it. The why is just you want more money. That's the result of why you're doing what you do. But you've got to have a passion for it. Because if you have a passion for it, you will be consistent and not quit. If you don't have a passion for something, you're going to do it as long as you think you can possibly make money. And when you can't, you're going to quit, move on to something else.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're passionate about it, you're going to keep at it. And after a while, money will come, because that's all from God. The gift from him is for you to share with his community, his people. And then he'll reward you for that. But if you don't do it for the right reasons, you can look back and say, I did this, I did that. Because you see somebody on social media, they're selling shoes. Oh, I can do that. Oh, they coaching, I can do that. You have no desire to do that. You're chasing money, and money is the end result of your why. It should not be your why.
And you just said it, like purpose and being in alignment. One of the reasons why I know I'm in alignment with what I'm supposed to do is that it has been easier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, although, yes, there's been problems, somebody, something, a resource, something has come to guide my path or to help me on this walk of being a therapist. Like,
yeah.
I have thought about, okay, I maybe I should go and get another job, or I should, quit. God sent me a clinical supervisor job at a university to offset and supplement my income. I didn't have a space. He sent me, a individual that said, hey, I have a space, that I can help you out. Like, it's always been something that's come and touched the journey to sort of pave the way. I'll pray on it and say, I don't know what you want me to do, Lord. Show me, send me somebody, because this is just too much. Sure enough, something would be revealed. So when you get in alignment with your purpose, it's a different type of problem. It's a different type of stress. It's not the same. You don't feel like you're trying to fit a square into a circle. It's just strategizing and navigating a terrain, but you have the right vehicle, or somebody will come along and give you a helmet. You'll get tools to help you with it, versus I've had other ones where I'm like, why isn't this working? Seemed like every time I would get a financial service job, something would happen. Then I tried to go into pharmaceutical work. That didn't work. Like, I was just losing jobs or getting laid off. I'm like, and I finally was like, I don't think I want to go back. And then I started doing philanthropy and human services. And it's like one step after another. And here I am. And it's so interesting how it just laid out, everything just laid out so perfectly. But that idea of doing too much, I think it comes up a lot for a lot of us, right? Like, what box should you be in? Is this in alignment? What do you do when you're getting tired? Because then I say rest, don't give up. But how do you keep yourself? Because now you can do what you want. You don't have to take on all these projects. You could just sleep all day if you wanted to.
Absolutely. I think the key is, for me, is having a variety of businesses, different things that stimulate me in different ways. So, when I'm dealing with my rental properties, that's a whole nother facet of my thinking. When I'm doing investing, that's different. Mm-hmm. Then when I'm doing Kidney Keeper, that's different. Closer Productions, Menopause Pulses, all of them are different, but they go together. So when one business is not moving like I want, I just, throw those hooks out in the water just like I'm fishing, and I move on to something else. And just as sure as I stop focusing on it, the calls start coming in, the emails start coming in. Because one thing I've learned about business, my urgency is not their urgency.
That is very true.
Run on budgets. They run on budgets, grants, and different things. So if they don't have the money, they might drag it out for a couple months, and then all of a sudden they say, when can you come and speak? And so I'm always ready. Once we
Yes.
start negotiating, I go ahead and get their stuff prepared because I know they're coming back.
Yes.
And then if they, call me today and say, "Can you come speak Wednesday?" I'll be there because I'm ready. And so I think that's important that once somebody reaches out to you and they have an interest, but now they're trying to find the funding because, of course, once we start talking business, they say, send us your budget or how much do we need to pay you. I'm not shy. I send it. And then if they say, "Okay, we got you," now they got to find the money sometimes,
Yes.
because their budget times
May
are
not
different.
have
So,
it.
yeah, but I know they want me, so I'm ready. So when they ask me, say, "Can you come?" Okay, I'm good. They say, "You sure?" I'm like, "I'm ready," because I already know that's a potential job. If I spend, a day preparing, at least it's ready, and then I just transition over. So I think me having multiple streams of income, I'm not as stressed as somebody that has one stream of income.
Yes.
And getting
Can, can,
tired,
can
I
we
don't
say
think
that
I get.
again? Multiple streams of income, because we got a lot of people that just jumped on. Shout out to Sean. Thank you for joining. Shout out to Sharika, my bestie. My sister Shamina's on here. There's a bunch of other Facebook users. Thank you for logging in and listening. You're listening to the Urban Heat 98.1 FM. This is Conversations with Coach La. Comes on every Sunday at 10 p.m. And I'm talking to my sister. My sister on the other side of there, she's over there in Richmond, Robin Roots. Yes. And she is a nurse by day and a film producer by night. So multiple streams of income. And one of the things that you said is what retirement brought freedom. And I think that's an important thing for people to think about because technically I've retired myself at 42. I think when we talked, you reminded me of this when we spoke that you was like, you already retired yourself, girl. I said, yeah, she right. So freedom, time freedom. Most people, when they say they're going to retire, they're like, I'm going to do this in retirement. I'm going to do that in retirement. Is that they want their time back. They want to be able to control their day. So congratulations to both of us for retiring,
Yes.
for being in
It's
retirement. And being
Yes.
able to do what we love and control what we do and to have multiple streams of income and everything connecting. So I want to take a little bit of time to talk about your other projects, which was Menopause Bosses. I thought that was a really interesting name. So can you tell us a little bit more about this Menopause Bosses? And I also went on your Instagram and saw that you had some freebies and things that people could download to help them track their
Yes.
symptoms. So I just recently found out I'm in menopause.
See? And I think you may have found out because you're like, I just don't feel the same or something's going on. Because I really got intrigued by this because of, the age I am and the friends that I have and just dealing with people in general, their personalities shifting a little bit. And all of it, kind of came back to our hormones and the balance or imbalance. And so I find that very intriguing to me because when we're young and we start having our menstrual cycle, you see your kids, your daughters, they're changing their attitude and different things. You're like, what is going on? And that's a huge, look at that face. That's a huge, challenge in the house sometimes. I've met men that tell me about it now, and it's like 3 women in the house. He's like, I'm about to lose it because this is real stuff. We change, and it's important that we go see our doctor and see what our levels are doing, and also, eating better, exercising, things that we can do.
Yeah.
And so I just decided I was going to, form a group and also a subscription so we can talk about these changes because when I have classes, I hear so many stories and they're very heartfelt because it's nothing like feeling like you're losing your mind. And that's what you hear a lot. Women feel like, I'm so anxious. I don't know what's going on. It's not that you're losing your mind. Your levels are out of whack. And with us, sometimes the more you work out, the lower the levels get. And we want to work out and stay in shape. So we got to get some kind of balance. So it's so good to go see your physician and really talk it out. But look for physicians that really specialize in hormone replacement because sometimes our regular GYNs, they're just say you're in menopause and boom, you'll be all right. Or give you something that they're not really evaluating for you. So I think we have to take that responsibility into our own hands to say, hey, I don't know why I'm crying all the time. I don't know why I feel sad. Because usually they want to give us like, you're depressed. I'm just going to give you this. And you're like, no, I don't think I'm depressed. But
Right.
I don't feel like myself. So a lot of times that's the first thing. They start giving us meds for depression. And you have to be like, no, I don't think that's what it is. Because I'm hot all the time and I'm not sleeping. And it's affecting your productivity on your job and the
Mhm.
way you show up.
Yep.
And
Very true.
yeah, and some people start in their 40s, some people start in their 50s. Only you know something is not right. I don't feel like myself. And once women get to talking, we identify, maybe you need to get your levels checked and see. And they be like, that's what it was. And, after they get their levels straight, they're like, man, listen, I feel 100% better. And it's a lot of, different things you can do. So I just got intrigued with it, and I get so many good messages from people saying, Miss Robin, that's what it was. I feel better. And it's like their husbands are like, thank you, Jesus. Because I'm telling you, I couldn't even come in the room without her acting like I did something to her. And it's like, you going through and they laugh and having a good day, and you're like, I can't stay cool. I didn't get any sleep last night. And that's real stuff.
Yeah. So it's interesting because prior to us, your show, I didn't have that narrative, right? Like that wasn't my case. And then I said the irony that I got Miss Robin coming on, and one of her specialty talks is on menopause, and I will be 47 in July, my birthday. And so it's
Right.
although I'm young, I'm not that young in terms of when it can start. Like this is right around when a lot of women start to experience things. But what hit me is I'm just extremely tired,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody's just like, oh, you're just doing a lot. You're just doing a lot. And I'm like, I always
Mm-hmm.
do a lot, but I never felt tired, like exhausted, like
Mm-hmm.
just like I could go back to sleep after I've been sleeping for a long time. I have a pretty good self-care routine. So I was like, no. And when I went and I was telling the doctor, she too was like, well, we don't, you do a lot. Everybody, that's always the answer. You do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of why I was tying that all together is when people see a lot on your plate, the first thing that they assume is you're tired because you're doing too much. You need to rest, or
Right.
you need to take some things off your plate. That may not be the case. You may need to go check your
Exactly.
levels. One of the first things I always remind people to do is to check the vitamin D. And sure enough, my
Mm-hmm.
vitamin D is low. So now I'm taking a supplement for vitamin D. But ladies, listen to your body. Listen to
Yes.
what's going on. People will easily say it's just stress or you're overwhelmed. And it could
Mm-hmm.
really be vitamins. It could be your hormones. It could be other things
Right.
that's causing you mood swings, and you think you got a mental health condition. That's another
Right.
reason why I wanted to bring it up, is that a lot of women are getting increased anxiety or depression when they're in menopause, and being
Exactly.
misdiagnosed with that versus getting their levels checked. There's blood tests that they can check to see if you are in menopause and if that is what could be
Yeah.
causing you to not feel like yourself.
Yeah. And women are getting diagnosed with different heart conditions too. And just understanding that sometimes you have an irregular heartbeat when going through menopause. So don't let them diagnose you too soon until they check your levels, because I've heard of women going to the hospital, like my heart just was racing out my chest. I had to go to the hospital, and they done all this work up on them, but they haven't checked the right lab. They haven't followed through, and then maybe 6 months later they see something and say, "Oh my God, let me go," and they find out the levels are low. So we as women, we have to, really advocate for ourselves, because it presents itself in different ways. And like you say, if you got 2 businesses and got 3 kids, somebody say, "Oh, you just stressed."
Yep.
That's why
Yep.
your heart is acting. You just stressed, and it's like, no, I've been on the same pace. It's this is what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I got this, because women, we do a lot, and we have a system. As I say, we have a system.
I mean, and I think most of us are used to a certain level of being tired too. So we sometimes don't even pay it any mind ourselves, kind of will brush it off, or
Right.
not being able to sleep at night, not realizing that it could be that, well, no, I just got a lot on my mind. I'm just stressed. So
Mm-hmm.
often we will blame our environment and our circumstances and ignore our health.
Right.
I'm seeing an increase in people coming to me because they want therapy or they think they need a therapist, which I think everybody can benefit from it. But I
Yes.
always remind them, when was your last physical? Have you had your blood work done? Aren't you working
Right.
out? What are you eating? Has there been any changes to the things you're eating? Because I think that is more holistic versus just to immediately think that it's just
Right.
your mental health and you're just struggling because you have past trauma and you haven't healed, right? That can be a
Yes.
part of it, but it could be all these other things as well. So
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
don't
And
think we
I
talk
think,
about it enough.
yeah, I think we have insurance, but we only use it in emergencies. And I think it should be the first of the year. I always use from January to March to have all my checkups for the year. I try to have them done by March of each year, and then I know where I'm at going throughout the year, because you can miss 1 year on doing certain things, and then boom, you in a crisis. Because your body changes, and especially since COVID. People that's been diagnosed with COVID and had a bad case, sometimes they have a lot of follow-up things that need to be done. And so it's important, if you've had COVID, to get your heart checked, because, we're seeing research now showing that, we're getting a lot of diagnosis from COVID, because it's been like a year or two since somebody's had it. So I think it's important to get checked out, full physical, colonoscopy, all the things that it's time for. You pay an insurance. You don't have to go when you get sick. Just stay, proactive.
I tell you, that physical this time was a whole nother beast, because all of those things, from mammograms to colonoscopy, all of that now are all these appointments that are coming up for me. And I was definitely overwhelmed. So we are narrowing it. We're getting down to the wire. I know everyone's like, you need a longer show, but guys, it's Sunday night. I don't know if I want to be here past 11 o'clock. So I haven't decided to do a longer show. But I enjoy giving the information. Robin, tell people where they can find you, how they can connect with you if they want more information about any of the projects you're working on.
We're on social media under Robin Roots on Facebook, and then Closer Productions is on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Menopause Bosses is on Facebook and Instagram. And I am kind of like everywhere when it comes to, I get more messages in my inbox for different, speaking engagements. So I'm always excited to talk to any group of people, because they already have an angle for me, whether it's about the film or kidney health, diabetes, hypertension. So I'm on social media, and I really have enjoyed talking with you, because when we met, it was like a connect. And I thank the twins for, connecting us.
Yes.
Because,
shout out to the twins. Now, I did have a question. Where do people find the documentary if they wanted to watch the documentary?
Well, the documentary is still in distribution mode. So I'm still working on rolling it out. I'm actually, it's available for screening, but I still own all the rights to it. I have not sold it, and I also have a curriculum with it. And we're in the process of cutting it into 4 individual short films that can be used for mental health, discrimination in the healthcare field, Black Lives Matter, how it collided with COVID, and all of those things. So it is not out there for everybody to see yet, but it can be booked for, public, private screening, pretty much. So.
Well, I actually like that idea, because I think it's going to evoke a lot of thought. If you ever need a therapist to be on site for trauma after watching it, look for me. I come out and do that. So okay. So because I definitely saw the clips for it, and I said she must have a way that this is working. So I wanted to ask, because I know some other people might have that question. So private screenings and talks. You like to, that's the way you're showing it at this time.
Yeah, I think that's best because I had, opportunities to sell it. However, it's dealing with practitioners, nurses and physicians and nurse practitioners. And I did not want any editing done to it because it would change the integrity of what they said.
Mm-hmm.
And they are practicing. So, you know how media can change stuff and then
Right.
it looks, pretty bad. So I want to always keep that control because they trusted me with their story. So that's important to me.
That's a great point. We do that a lot in research, integrity. You want to be very mindful of not reharming people or putting them in a position because they decided to open up and be vulnerable with you about their past or their feelings and emotions. So that's good
Exactly.
stuff. So what's next for Robin? I saw a post you said that you were always dreaming or stay dreaming. What's
Oh,
next?
yeah. I actually am working on 2 documentaries behind the scenes. We're kind of, getting the funds together, getting all the players together, and hopefully we'll get started before the year is out because it's a pretty big project. And I feel like, Discovery Channel, working on some things for kidney health, and then I'm working with a group of people from another country in reference to some kidney platforms. And so I'm excited about that because I love diversity because sometimes we think about health, by being African American, it's just us, but it spans over so many cultures. And being in dialysis in certain states that I've dialyzed in, I may have done, all people from India, people from, Vietnamese people, but in this area that I'm in, it's mostly African American. So being able to create educational tools that, cover the masses is important to me. So those are things I'm working on, and I love collaboration. I think that's key because I feel like I know a lot, but from other people's perspective, it really makes you think on a higher level. So that's real important to me. So I got a lot of great things cooking, and hopefully we'll be doing some pitching with those projects before the year's out at different conferences and stuff. So lots of great things.
People don't, we might have to do it on another day, but just the process of writing and turning what you're thinking into film. Sure, there's a lot of people out there that have written books that may have thought about screenplays or bringing it to fruition. So you have a whole nother story around just producing, writing, and directing that I would love to know more about and how you got into that. So I'm gonna have to bring you back for a round 2 because you have so many projects. Today was just like how do you say that? A general studies. We got get to know Robin in a well-rounded way, and now I want to drill down into some of these projects the next time. But thank you. Yes, thank you so much for coming and sitting and talking with me and about you and just the way you think. The mindset that you have. I hope some people got nuggets out of this, and I hope to bring you back again next time. So we're going to bid you guys good night until another episode of Conversations with Coach La. We come on Sundays, 10 p.m. right here on the Urban Heat, 98.1 FM. We are radio with a purpose on Orthodox Radio. Tomorrow you guys can tune in and listen to the Morning Cafe. And they are sure to be entertaining. And I'm sure they'll do an update on all of the things we did this weekend because we had an opportunity to host our music festival here called the BAMS Fest. So it was a great time. Enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I got a chance to hang out with the family and do some amazing things. So yeah.
You had a graduation recently too, didn't you?
Yeah, my son. Yep. He graduated. So we will see you guys next time. Say bye.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Good night.
Good night.
And iHeart Station.